Hey everyone, we're just gonna do a quite a serious topic this time. It's a reaction to actually a famous YouTuber who's got over 2 million followers. I believe that's going down. I personally don't know this YouTuber that well until this news came out. Yes, but it's quite a hot topic, so it's something that we're gonna react to right now. His name is EDP. And there's this video called EDP Exposed full video, so we're just going to quickly react to that together. So yeah, let's see how this actually plays out.
Yeah, that's cool. We can just sit right here on this curb right here.
Okay, cool. This is actually a live reaction, so we haven't seen the video.
What's up, man?
What's up?
No fist? Okay. No fist bump?
I don't fist bump people like you, man, to be honest.
So before we get into any of the messages right here, I have 84 messages.
Okay.
So we have you talking to Sophie, correct? Yes or no?
Right.
Okay. Sophie is how old? Before, and again, I have it right here. I know the answer, but I just need you to tell me the answer. How old is she?
13.
13, okay. Right. And before we get into the messages, there was sexual content involved, yes or no?
Right.
And you sent.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So
wait, so he sent her already, they've said that she's 13.
Yeah.
And he's already sent an explicit photo to her. That's like within the last, what is it, 20 seconds of them meeting him.
Yeah, exactly.
They've exposed all of that. I don't know how he's not sweating, like, you know, drips of sweat already, because it shows the confidence that he might actually still get away with it, you know, but maybe just because he's famous or he has that following.
Yeah. And
I think because, I mean, I don't know, someone who would never think of even doing anything like that, or knowing anyone that would do something like that, you would think that you would have a bit more of a reaction to someone knowing that you just sent explicit photos to a 13-year-old girl.
What's interesting is that he doesn't seem to be taking the interaction quite seriously. He's asking people to fist bump him, like, come on, they're bringing you up, bringing up a situation where you have solicited unacceptable behavior with a 13-year-old. It's like, you can't expect them to be like buddy type of people. Come on, like they're bringing it up, essentially a criminal offence up to you, and you're just backing off like it's nothing. It reminds me, you know, when you watch all the serial killer documentaries, and essentially they like being on the run, they want to get caught type of thing, and they just flag off the authority. Yeah, it's like a sociopath type behavior, something similar to that. Anyway, we'll just play the rest. We're only 40 seconds into this, by the way.
I've got a lot to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was coming out here to...
Glasses off.
He has the sunglasses on as well.
Here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home. There was,
the way
you know,
he
nothing...
his voice. If you literally hear him say cupcake, I can't even do it. He says cupcake with such a high pitch, and you can usually tell if someone's starting to get nervous if they raise their pitch.
Yeah, no, of course.
Which obviously everyone gets nervous, and finally he is showing a bit of, you know, they've exposed me here. But then to lie that you're just going to get a cupcake when the man's just said that he's got evidence of what you spoke about and that you've sent something explicit. I don't know how he's trying to worm his way out with this, like, obvious lie.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course, yeah. I think because his brain is in like 5 different places right now because he's been caught out on this situation. From what I've heard, this isn't the first time he's done activity like this before, which is disgusting. So he definitely needs to be behind bars. This is not, it doesn't matter if he's famous or he's not. At the end of the day, children should be protected by people like this because it does affect them mentally quite a lot. And children don't deserve this because at the end of the day, they're innocent. So yeah, let's just play the rest of this.
Sexual involved, because I'm not like that, you know. Well, obviously the text messages and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was all that was going to happen.
Oh, okay. So You should title a video, instead of, you know, your video almost threw hands with a 13-year-old, you should title your video almost hands with a 13-year-old. I think that'll get a lot of hits, EDP.
I think so.
Yeah, so.
I think so. The way he just jokes about it, like, I think so. He's like, no, actually, that was a dig at you, EDP. Sorry.
But
I'm having a joke.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think from the side of so it seems like the people who have exposed him are some sort of show or something similar to, I guess, How to Catch a Predator, but like a social media version. I feel personally, I think they shouldn't do digs. They should act more professional, because then it sort of devalues them and their show and their product. Because at the end of the day, they talk about hot topic. It's not like personal jabs here. At the end of the day, you're trying to help kids from essentially getting preyed upon by the like idiots like this guy here. And in my eyes, you should do that professionally, because it is a hot topic and it does cause a lot of suffering to kids. But yeah, like I said, a little bit less personal jabs and egos and stuff. I don't know if that's just for the views, but at the end of the day, you have to think about why exactly you're doing this show for. Are you doing it for the kids, or are you doing it for your own popularity? Yeah, so yeah, that's just my opinion on that.
All right. So again, what made you start this conversation with this said 13-year-old? You said what you're doing right here, correct? Yes or no?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, she messaged me, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, man. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, person feels lonely and stuff, and they want the interaction.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what had happened.
Okay, so this isn't what happened, because she never said she was lonely right here, correct? Yes or no?
Correct.
Okay, and you did double text here, yes or no?
Correct.
Knowing, and it said on her profile 13, yes?
Correct.
Okay, so you initiated conversation with a 13-year-old knowing she was 13, yes or no?
Correct.
Okay, so is that a good look for you?
No, it's not.
Okay, so
on the profile on Instagram, it actually did say what her age was, so at least we haven't got that. A lot of the time someone could say, well, they could look older than they are, but at the end of the day, if you're how old is this guy? He looks like around 30, like early 30s probably.
Yeah.
Why would you even talk to a person anywhere near 18 anyway? At the end of the day, you're quite mature yourself, and he's chatting to someone who's even younger than that. It's like disgusting, and it's, you can't get any way out of that. You're chatting to someone who's obviously 13. It says it in their profile. You could tell it by their photos, and you're chatting to them like, you know, you're chatting to a full-grown adult. So yeah.
you've been exposed for this before.
Correct.
And you called them and thoughts, these other girls. And you know what? I've been following for a long time. And you know what? I said, you know what? He probably made a mistake. And, you know, there are some attention-seeking ones, but this is damning.
Right.
I had to make sure myself. Right. Do you recognize me?
No. Okay.
I had to make sure myself. That all these rumors were true. It sucks, man. I watched you in high school. Me and my friend Keyshawn thought you were hilarious, man. It's sad.
I appreciate it.
Oh, so he's been around for quite some time in terms of YouTube.
Quick question. How long will this interview be?
You don't get to determine that.
Okay.
Well, like, what I don't understand, why are you attracted to like 13-year-olds? Like, why are you attracted to underage? Because you clearly said in one of the screenshots that you've always wanted to be with someone younger. Like, you like fantasize about being with someone younger,
Right.
and you're scared of being a sting operation or cops.
Right.
Like, what goes through your head? What makes this okay for you? Because this is disgusting. Like, real, man.
What goes on is loneliness, dude. I'll be completely honest with you, man. I'm not gonna you. I'm not gonna shoot, you know.
Like, let me cut you off right there, okay? When you say loneliness, like, we've heard that millions of times, right?
Right.
Trust me, this is not our first time doing this. We've confronted hundreds of people,
Right.
And every single time some of them do say they're lonely, and sometimes we do understand that they're lonely because maybe they're not as popular or they're not as outgoing, but you have millions of followers.
Right.
Like, how are you lonely? You have like
Right.
millions of followers. I bet you there's chicks in your DMs trying to hit you up.
Absolutely.
And you're here for a 13-year-old.
And I recall,
Like-
you know, I followed you for a while. I recall a few years ago you did brag about having a girlfriend. You also in a live stream bragged about this little affair that you had with a teacher. So you probably...
Let me just pause it there. I don't think it's anything to do with being lonely. At the end of the day, there's plenty of people out there, there's plenty of women out there. And if you are lonely, it doesn't give you any excuse to go ahead and start taking advantage of children. That's not a good enough excuse. I don't think there is any good enough excuse for you to say that you're going to have sexual activities with a child. What do you think on that?
Absolutely agree. I think it's just a cop out for him to sort of say,
Yeah.
I was lonely or they were lonely, and we just connected on the internet. Because even if they were lonely or you were lonely, to make it that topic of a sexual topic between someone that's 13 or under 18 or underage, it's just sickening. There isn't an explanation for it.
Exactly, yeah. Let's play a bit more.
You have a ton of females in your DMs interested in you because, you know, people like you for your personality and whatnot. And, you know, and then when you say specifically, I've always fantasized about someone younger with a big age gap. You did say that, correct? Yes or no?
Correct.
That you fantasize about someone younger.
Correct.
What is that fantasy? Because it's not just loneliness.
Yeah.
We honestly, we really don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we're not like that. We're not like that.
Yeah.
And as well, I mean, totally, there's always been this fantasy of a man wanting a younger woman, but to what we have to have to a certain extent, you know. I feel like childhood needs to have that innocence. You need to have that protection, and as a community, and as a society, we really need to make sure that innocent and that innocentness. That's not a word. Yeah. We need to protect the children, because otherwise, they're not developed enough to be in a sexual relationship with anyone, and
Still growing up.
They're still growing up.
They don't have mental capacity to understand it. There's a reason why these laws are in place. It's not because some guy thought of it one day. No, because essentially it's the mental capacity of a person. Just like how you can't have a bank account at 13 years old, or you can't join the army at 13 years old. It's for particular reasons.
I mean, even if it were a kid saying, I really want to join the army, it looks amazing, you're not going to say, okay, sign them up.
Exactly, yeah.
It's the same thing with if you have a fantasy, or if you have an urge to want someone young, like really young, that should be suppressed, or it should be protected against not ever happening. Because even though if you want someone younger than you, just make sure that they're of age and of consent to do so, because a child can't consent to it. I know that there are different ages in different communities. Sometimes it's 13 or 14 that actually can consent to having sexual intercourse, but at the same time, if you are a massive age gap, I feel like we should all agree that that is just not right, because you're preying on that young life that is innocent.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit different if it's a 13-year-old that's who's in talks with a 14-year-old. It's a bit different when they're still children themselves.
Yeah, when they're of an equal playing field, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit different when you have a 30-year-old man chatting to a 13-year-old girl. It goes both ways as well. If it's a 30-year-old woman chatting with a 13-year-old boy, it's the same thing in my eyes, and it should be the same in everyone's eyes, even though there is a double standard. When it is a boy getting molested or sexually assaulted by a woman, tends to be handled differently in our society, which definitely needs to change.
Bro, come on, man. You know exactly what it is, dude. Okay?
No,
you a
we're
pedophile?
attracted
No, I'm not.
we're attracted to female our own age, dude.
Let this be known. Let this be known. I am not a.
So what are you then? If you're here to meet up with a
Seems like quite a egotistical guy.
I am a guy that is What am I?
If it takes you this long to answer what you are, you're pretty sure that you're some type of creep.
Listen, man, I'm gonna be real with you, okay?
Okay, I want you to be real with
Yeah,
me. This
absolutely.
is
That's what we're here
cool.
for.
I'm gonna be real with you, okay?
Yep.
My mom, may she rest in peace. You guys know that, right? You guys seen the videos,
Yeah,
all that bullshit. My mom did not raise a fucking okay? She did not raise a creep or where I know what the screenshots say. Okay.
Why is he getting his mum involved in
I
this?
don't know.
At the end of the day, if you are a paedophile or not, you can't blame your mother for anything that. It's your own. Even if it is a mental illness, you know, some people do argue that, and I'm happy for people to argue that.
Yeah.
But even if it is a mental illness, or if it's a fetish, if it's a fantasy, if it's a, you know, anything like that, if you're a creep, whatever you want to call them, you can't blame someone who's raised you. And the issue is, yeah, there is abuse of people themselves, and usually then it becomes a circle of abuse, which is another topic completely. But to completely put the blame on your mother or on someone else is just not right. You need to take responsibility. He is a grown man. He's obviously able to think for himself. If this was a situation where it's someone who is severely mentally ill or couldn't necessarily comprehend what they were doing in the same way that maybe other people that like we are, we're talking about this, we're discussing whether it's right or wrong, maybe they can't really grasp that concept. It's completely different. We understand this man to be a full-grown adult that can understand consequence, can understand what's right and wrong, and yet he's blaming his mother. I think that's a low blow. Because if my
She
mum
can't defend herself as well.
Exactly. If my mum was in the grave and I started saying all of that stuff, I think she'd haunt me or something.
Yeah, no.
It's not something to do.
Yeah, no.
I'm aware of that. I'm looking right at him, okay? My mom did not raise, and as a matter of fact, if she was here with
Your mom has nothing to do
Right,
with this.
yeah, don't bring your
family into it, because we're not here for your family, we're here for you.
Yeah, exactly. Own your own actions.
Yeah, this is your 600-pound life, not anybody else's.
This is not
Understood?
cool.
So
my 600-pound life.
One other thing, let me tell you something, okay?
What's up? Go for it.
What does EDP mean?
yeah, it looks like you've eaten looks like you've eaten everything in the world but the pussy. You know, okay, you know what? We're gonna talk.
Oh, so that's what the actual his name stands for. It stands for eat that P word. I don't want to say it because we might get flagged by YouTube, but yeah, we don't want any profanity or any swear words in here. But yeah, it basically means eat that P word, lady parts. Yeah, no more details is needed.
Yeah. I felt like you were struggling.
Yeah. Now it just shows what type of character this person is, if that's his chosen username.
Yeah, I'll stop, mate. I'll stop. We're just here to talk to you. So what was that? So you said you know exactly what I mean. What do we mean?
No, what does EDP mean? Why do you if you call yourself EDP?
You know what's funny, right?
What's
At the very beginning.
This is not funny at all. This ain't funny.
Well, if you would stop cutting me off and trying to explain.
Okay, so we're gonna let you explain now.
Okay.
Because we want to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm a fan of you. He's a fan of you. He's a fan of you.
Honestly, I'm not a fan. But
Well, he used to be. He used to be. And we want to give you the benefit of the doubt. So please explain this to us, okay? And I'm going to be done talking, that way to you. I'm just here to talk to you, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So what does EDP stand for?
EDP445.
Right.
When I first created my YouTube channel, right?
Glasses off, please. Thank you.
When I first, well, you're gonna have to excuse me because the sun's in my eyes.
Yeah, here,
so.
we can just face that way.
just turn
Yeah.
around.
This way's cool?
Whichever way
Whichever way the sun's not in your eyes.
So when I first started my YouTube channel, right? If you go back, if you look at the original logo,
Yeah.
right? It was a picture of a cat. I'm sorry, it was a picture of, Pac-Man, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was a picture of Pac-Man eating a cat.
Okay.
It was supposed to be funny. Okay. That's what my original logo is meant to be.
Okay, fair play. So again, you you mentioned to admitting to having this fantasy with someone with a big age gap.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you said to us, you know exactly what we mean, but I truly don't. He truly doesn't. So what do you mean by that? Please
That was a good
explain.
question.
Sure.
Are you guys the cops?
No, we're not cops.
We're not cops.
You're not cops.
But we
We're
have
not
worked with law enforcement.
But we
multiple
can
times.
forward this to cops because
Yeah, absolutely.
most definitely this is not your first time either, right?
Right.
This is absolutely not. How many times have you done this?
This actually is my first time.
You just said it wasn't your first time, and now you say
Second
it is. Second time?
What was the first?
So the first time was, so you guys know about the 15-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So she was hitting me up through DMs in which she engaged first.
Right.
Because let's be real here. A lot of people, right, when they see celebrities, you know, like the check marks and stuff, and no, I'm not trying, I'm gonna sit back and throw a guilt trip and make people feel sorry for me. I'm not doing that. So don't,
Right. Yeah. Just go
so
on,
don't
it's
try
fine.
to turn and twist the shit. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Just go on.
So when people sit back, right, especially young girls, right, the 15-year-old, not the 13-year-old, when they see people with check marks and stuff, you know, oh shit, this and that, you know what I mean? You know, like you're famous, you're hot, all that. Okay, that's what they do. Now, as far as the whole fantasy goes, you know what I mean? Let's be real, okay? You know what I mean?
Like that's the part where I'm not picking up on. I genuinely don't know what you mean.
Sexual fantasies, that's what I mean.
Okay, so sexual, and I'm not calling you the P word if you know what I'm talking. If you know what I mean, I'm not calling you the P word, but do you fantasize about females under the age of 16? Yes or no? Sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you obviously you fantasize about a 13-year-old, correct?
So yeah, let's stop it there. So if you have those sort of thoughts in your mind, that is not normal. You definitely need to go get help. And now that you've actually done actions, that leads you to prison, mate. Like at the end of the day, if you're actually going out there, and luckily this time it was someone being stopped that wasn't a 13-year-old, it's not going to stop him one day actually meeting a 13-year-old and causing quite a lot of mental angst towards this child. And it doesn't matter. You said in the part of the video that just because you're famous and you got the great blue tick or whatever, you got these young girls who want to approach you, whatever. You're the adult in the situation. You need to mature up and think, hang on, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. You know, you're the adult in the situation. You need to always think like an adult and say, hang on, this child needs to actually not talk about things like that. And especially not talk about things like that with another adult, rather than you joining in and saying, enjoying it.
Exactly, because it's putting all of the blame on the victim.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day,
yeah.
a child will always be the victim in this situation, because if you have those fantasies in your mind, you thinking about that will not necessarily harm anybody, but then actioning it and using your platform as a YouTuber to you know, if someone approaches you or if you approach her, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because you're still using that platform and your fantasies and actually taking action against it. And even if you never met up with them, the fact that you're sending, you know, explicit photos and explicit text is still going to mess up with someone that's vulnerable, and you're still using them for your own gain, rather than it being like, you know what, I'm an adult here, this is a kid that I'm talking to. Regardless of the fantasies that I'm thinking about in my mind, I'm not going to go forward with this because I'm an upright citizen and, you know, and an adult. I'm not going to actually take action, because that is wrong in my opinion too.
Yeah, for sure. So the video is actually 40 minutes long, so we're not going to do like a full video reaction, but we sort of get a sense of what the context of the video is. We're going to put the video linked in the description below. You guys can send your comments and your opinions on the situation. Be interesting to see people who have actually been watching his content and now think of it all in retrospective. And
I just want to mention as well, if you stumble across our video and see the reaction that we have, just know that there's many people that will help. If you know of someone, or if you are someone who is being pursued by someone that is older than you, and you're under the age, or even if you just feel uncomfortable with someone that messages you, I'm sure that there are places that we can maybe try and link, or try and find, or do some research where, or tell someone about it, and just stop it. You know, whether you know, you might not stop it yourself, but you know, if you need any help, then just that there's a police, or there's other organisations that will help to stop people in their tracks. You can send screenshots and evidence of stuff if you find it. Even if you find, someone else has been messaging someone of lower than 18 age, I think trying to approach that sensibly and slowly, and making sure that they don't just close up, but hopefully helping anyone out that does need it. I'm sure we'll try and find some sort of way of helping out in the description as well.
So yeah, no, definitely the content that we see needs to be investigated. I don't know the context whether he's been arrested yet or not, but definitely needs to be investigated to see whether he has it seems like he has a history of doing this, and if so, it definitely needs to be action by the police and by the authorities, because that's just disgusting behaviour. And fingers crossed justice is served, and everyone gets essentially one less person doing that sort of stuff off the streets, because at the end of the day, children are innocent, they don't really deserve stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, this one was a bit more serious than the other videos, but
a bit more of a sensitive topic.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we'll try and be cheery next time.
Yeah.
I think we'll try and do a mixture of serious and less serious topics, just to sort of mix it up so you can enjoy it.
Cool. Anyway, I'll see you till next time. Leave a like if you're liking it. Leave a comment. Otherwise, dislike it. No, I'm kidding. Please give us likes. My new channel. Yeah, give us likes. Alright, cheers.
Bye.